Hello everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. In this episode, very interesting episode this will be, we are talking about the books that came out of Marvel Comics on the week of June 4th, 2014. And ironically, in DC, Mike only had 2 books, the rest were all mine.
So this one is totally opposite.
Mike has most of the books. I have 2, and then we both read the big book, which is going to be the last book we review.
Yep.
So, ironically, Mike, you've got a few books, actually. Well, this one you dropped. Well, actually, didn't you say this was the last one you're getting of this?
No, I said probably this
Both?
one. Well, I'll get to it. But first book I'm doing, Cyclops issue number 2. I found this issue to be a little bit boring.
A little bit.
In some sort of way, because first of all, it starts off where Cyclops and his father, they're going onto this mission on a different planet, because basically Cyclops' father, oh, I can't remember what his name is. Basically, he takes some type of drugs that he puts on his neck and everything. And I thought that was like, okay. And he just talks about his son, about the whole city and everything. And they meet up with like this guy right here. All works a little bit okay. It's not like the cover, that's for sure. So he goes to him to get more of those drug things, so to say, that he uses. Meanwhile, Cyclops goes with her daughter on a little bit of a, not like a danger room experiment. I mean, it looks like it, sort of, but it's just to give them more of the, it's a sensory experience, which is kind of like the danger room. So, Korzor is Cyclops' father's name. So,
Corsair.
Well, Corsair, yeah. I mean, it's just like a whole big dialogue that happens where they both get into some action, and meanwhile, you know, there's Cyclops uses a sword, actually, which I thought was pretty epic. And basically the father looks like he's not going to be able to make it because of the whole, like when he got the drugs, they were all smashed and everything. And it looks like someone's going to go after him. I'm debating if I'm going to get the next issue. If my pile's going to be big, I'm like probably going to skip it. But, I don't know about that. Not that I'm not a Cyclops fan or anything, I just don't like the story. The Superior Foes of Spider-Man issue number 12. Now, Superior Spider-Man is done.
Right.
So, why isn't the Superior Foes of Spider-Man not done? Well,
I'm sure it'll answer.
It kind of answers the question, sort of, why it's not done. So they're at the bus scene where Overdrive and Beetle go to Boomerang, and Boomerang explains to them, you know, about what happened, that it was the chameleon that was the real Boomerang, you know, not him himself, with the whole painting of Mr. Owl. Hammerhead actually appears. The artwork is pretty good. And Hydra Man goes to him saying that he knows where the head of Silvermane is, that the Shocker has it, and gives the address and stuff like that. So Boomerang, once again, is going to go on another Mr. Owl mission, but with the team. Not that they're going to go by themselves. So they do that. And now they have the Sinister Six team with a new team. I put down, I'm like, really? They're going to have more teams on there? So, basically, while everyone's working together, Boomerang works with the team, also with Overdrive. And Overdrive kind of, let's just say he's a little bit different, like not a team player. I'll just leave it at that. Meanwhile, Shocker and Silvermane have a talk, and, well, let's just say that Hammerhead's in the front door of where the Shocker is with Silvermane's head. Which kind of built a little bit of interest. but I'm still gonna read on just because I'm curious to find out more of what's going to happen. And here's this one, which is
I don't understand how all your books came out in 1 week.
Loki, Agent of Asgard, issue number 5. And in this comic book, it was kind of a little bit sort of, like in the middle. Basically, Loki and Lori, along with Thor, that was with them, they're going on, well, first of all, here's a splash page right here, which I thought was really great artwork. And basically, what they're doing is that they're trying to get past the guard, and it actually makes a Mighty Avengers number 9 reference of the Technocracy. You heard of it? So, meanwhile, earlier, Loki and Thor, they have a little bit of a talk with each other of all the stuff that's been going on, which happened in Loki number 1, the whole spell thing that happened with Thor and where it went. So they're trying to look for this spell that Loki had, and that relates to the All-Mothers, actually. And when I was reading this, it was kind of getting a little boring. And Loki and Sigmund, they were talking about how the death was fake, that Sigmund didn't really kill Loki, because it was all a big thing. And then the evil Loki shows up and has an encounter with the regular Loki. So they have a bit of a fight scene with each other, and things don't turn out so well for the regular Loki. Meanwhile, the evil Loki gets away, and after that, it's to be continued in original Sin Thor and Loki, the 10th realm, number 1.
Wait. That's it?
Well, yes, it's next original Sin. I don't know if I'm gonna get it because of original Sin.
I will be.
So
I'm getting it because I want to have.
You want to read it? That's fine. Because if it goes back to Loki, I don't know. I mean, Loki was random and funny, but now it's getting a little bit downside, which I don't understand. But going into something that's picking up smoothly, Magneto, issue number 5.
Eventually, we'll get to one of my books, by the way.
Eventually, I will go by quick. So. Basically, in Magneto, we have from what we saw in the last issue of with all the Sentinels and stuff like that, and there's like really more of the inner dialogue where he meets with somebody, and the agent has been following around Magneto, and they have Blair Rowland, like. She basically just wants to know, like, who he is. And he explains with all the anger he has and yada yada yada. Because we all know how he is. So, they just have, like, a bit of a talk with each other where they go for a drink. And then, she wants to help him. And Magneto says, I don't remember asking for your help. And she's just saying, trust me, I'll prove my value, because he's afraid that she's after him because he's a mutant and he doesn't like that people are killing mutants. So she has information about the Mortarers, and if you want to find out about that, definitely read the book. And yeah. So it is getting very interesting now that he actually has Blair, or Briar, I think that's how you say her name, as a new sidekick, sort of. But it's not going to be for long, because we all know Magneto is an anti-hero, and he's not really a team player, but... Here's why I'm surprised you didn't read. Avengers World Issue number 7. The cover says it all.
I'm not interested in the character.
The Falcon.
Yes, no.
I thought you were into the Falcon, but...
Captain America.
I know Captain America, but this is the Falcon.
Captain America.
So, it talks about the past.
Again, they show one panel with the dragon, and that's it.
Yeah.
No dragon, no interest.
And I remember actually where Shang-Chi was fighting against Gorgon, and I now know him because I read the Deadly Hands of Martial Arts, so that gave me a little bit of an insight. And I love the artwork, by the way. And the Falcon goes on his own way, and he finds this strange spaceship all the way up in the sky. And he goes inside to find out who it is, and the guy that runs it, he goes by the name of Xian Zhang, who is the captain of the ship, basically. And he knows who he is, Sam Wilson, because they basically watch from above, and they're known as Spear. They didn't really give a whole thing of what they're about. Like, they're basically a first response intelligence gathering organization. So they didn't give what it was, what SPEAR meant. So he's talking about the history, the birth of the Ascendant, and the teammates of Weather Witch, Saber, Vector, and Devastator. How they all came to be one another, along with Sun Yukong, the Monkey King. And that's how they're known as the Ascendants. About how they got together in their origins. You could definitely read the story to find that out on your own. So, Falcon's saying, you know, we have a team of our own called the Avengers on the East Coast, because Spear is on the West Coast. So, I guess Falcon brought them to Avengers headquarters, and who knows, maybe Spear and S.H.I.E.L.D. will work together. And basically the Falcon's like saying, you know, that he thought that things that were going to turn out wrong are actually going to turn out right.
We'll see.
We're going to see if things turn out right, but I actually was interested in this book, and I really like it. I like the origin story that gives for different characters.
Oh, gee, look, it's a book that's mine.
Good, give me a break.
New Warriors, issue number 5. I hope that this book is not going in the comedic, down the comedic route, because a lot of the stuff in this book, it was a good book. I'm not saying it was bad, but a lot of the stuff in this book really felt like, not forced comedy, but it's like the team isn't taking itself completely serious. The book isn't taking itself seriously. There's a lot of slapstick jokes in here, and it's kind of like, don't do that. Don't do that to New Warriors. Come on. Unless they did this to the old previous series, and it's just me, but you have this guy who wants to be freed. Apparently everybody who said no to being a New Warrior basically is a New Warrior. Justice, Scarlet Spider, and Water Snake are in some type of a, they're at Wendigore Mountain, where they're fighting all these machines and whatnot, and Speedball and everybody else are down in the village. They're making sure that the village is safe. Water Snake is having these visions that she can't explain. Speedball, this is where all the funny stuff happens, and it's kind of, and I kind of felt this way because they were going to do this with Arsley, or Hummingbird as she's called. She's more of a comedic relief, but when it comes to Speedball, he too is a comedic relief. So, between the two of them, they go into this bar, everything's safe, and he tries to break the monotony by, you know, talking to a few, you know, each member, like, how about you, what do? You think of a hero name, and you, Hummingbird, what's all about you? And then she kind of reads into him, and apparently Speedball has a lot of spikes and armor around him. He's very dark and kind of, oh, what's the word that Hummingbird said? Dark and, she said it towards the end of the book, hold on. He's very dark and angsty and brooding. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Because Speedball gets pissed off. He's like, this is the only time I'm asking you nicely. Stay out of my head. So it's kind of weird how different he is inside of his head. But beside the point, Justice is fighting, and Scarlet Spider and Water Snake end up meeting this hooded person, and it turns out to be a cat. A cat. And this cat's name, I forgot what their names are, but they need help to free their master. At the beginning of the book, they mentioned that they're going to use the New Warriors to free him, and he's not exactly a good guy, so to speak. And Water Snake has another vision about that. But in the end, they need to move the mountain. They give all these corny, like, one person says, 3 people say New York, one person says Mexico, and Hummingbird, of course, says Disneyland. And then the closing line in this book, which is like, oh, don't go the comedic route, please be a little bit serious, was, just as when they teleported, instead of just teleporting them, they teleported the whole mountain. And Justice goes, please tell me you didn't just teleport the entire mountain of New York City. He's like, and then the dog's like, I did not know where Disneyland was. I was like, oh, God.
What?
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those books. Interesting, but I just don't...
they're going to try hard now in that book?
I hope they don't try hard with the jokes.
Oh, no.
Interesting, funny, but I'm actually more curious about Speedball and how that's going to play into future issues. I hope that they reach into that at some point. That was like one of the points of the book where I actually read it twice. I was like, go into this more at some point.
The Adventures of Kunlun continues in Iron Fist: The Living Weapon, issue number 3, where he is going to try to go back home. And it really talks about more the origin story as a kid, that he actually was being trained by the guy that we saw in the last issue, I think the King of Kunlun or something like that. And I'm trying to... Oh, Lee Kung, the Thunderer. And he's basically trying to teach... I'm trying to remember his name. Daniel, about what it is to be part of, to be a martial artist. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the woman's with that little girl, and there's a doctor there that goes by name of, well, not a doctor, actually, can't remember what his name is. Like, they have like a long conversation and stuff like that. Artwork's a little bit sketchy still, which is okay, sort of. So Daniel, or Iron Fist, really. No. He's going to Kunlun, and he meets up with his old master, whose head was decapitated. And then it goes back to the past again, where Daniel was to prove himself worthy by being in a fight with someone, and it turned out to be bloody. And he wants to just be left alone after all of what's been going on. And the master actually talks nice to him, like saying all this trauma and everything of what happened in the past. You know, if you can protect your heart, you will never die. This is the secret forever. And I thought that was a nice quote he had with the talk he had with Daniel. So he just can't believe in shock that his master died, and he's just like saying, everything's like all lies and stuff like that. And he just burns everything, and he says, Kunlun owes my vengeance, and point me to the killer, and I will have him, who killed his master, basically. And then it's just a whole bunch of other rubbish stuff. If you want to read that, definitely read it for yourself. But we find out who the person is that killed Kunlun. And I said, whoa. Whoa.
It's fake. It has to be.
And no, it's not. So, the Adventures of Kunlun continue in a really amazing way. And I'm liking it. If people said they didn't like it this week, I don't know what, they wanted, but yeah. The Punisher, issue number 6, which was almost my book of the week, where it's now Punisher versus Electro, round 2, in this comic book. So, they have a fight scene with each other, and...
I still can't believe he had more books than me from Marvel this week.
Yeah, so he takes out Electro with the rubber bullets, and in comes Domino, finally, after seeing her issues back, that helps out Electro and defeats the Punisher as they go away. Meanwhile, Del Sol is still on the loose, where the Punisher is still going after him. And there's a whole big explosion that happens, which was a drone, basically. And it just talks about the whole thing about... like, the artwork's really drawn spectacular. And let's just say that the Howling Commandos go after Frank Castle, or really the Punisher, I should say, because he's in his Punisher getup. And they have this smart gun that actually goes to him, targeting him, and possibly killing him, which we all know it's not going to kill him.
No.
I mean, come on. And then they're Howling Commandos saying we're the ones that take out the bad guys. Now, If I remember correctly, Punisher's not a bad guy. He's an anti-hero, and he just kills people because of what happened to him in the past. So he has his reasons, but almost book of the week, but really interesting. Definitely gonna pick up the next one.
Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 2, I believe. Yes. This was really good. So, Miles was confronted in the last issue by Peter Parker. And everybody's already saying, you know, we all started speculating. I'm not even going to mention the parts with Norman Osborn. We all started speculating. It's a clone. It's a this, it's a that, it's the other thing. Personally, I felt that he was very out of character, sort of. His personality was very different than what we're used to seeing. So it kind of leaves you that big, humongous question mark of, is this really Peter Parker? And unlike Peter Parker from the 616, this Peter Parker's like, I never asked you to be Spider-Man. He shows up because he wants his web shooters, and Miles has his web shooters because Aunt May gave him his web shooters. And he's like, why don't you go to Aunt May? He's like, I can't put her through this anymore. I can't do it. I just want my web shooters. I didn't ask you to pick up the mantle or whatever. I'm sorry if this isn't up your standards, how you think I should do these impossible things no one in the world outside of Captain America has ever had to deal with. But and then Miles cuts him off and says, either you tell her or I'll tell her. And Pete tries to attack him to get his web shooters back. That fails, but Pete ends up knocking him out and taking the web shooters. And then Miles says what I'm thinking. Clone. And now that Miles said it, I don't think that it is. Because why would... I mean, the writers actually literally, Brian Michael Bendis is saying, we're saying clone. So is it a clone or isn't it a clone?
We don't know.
I don't know, but the fact that Miles is saying clone makes me rethink if it's a clone or if it's really...
I'll call if it's a chameleon.
He goes to Gang's house, and Gang's even saying, you've been saying clone so much, what if it's the real Peter Parker? What if he just doesn't want, you know, people to know? What, you know, and then he asked about him, did you tell Aunt May? Did you tell Gwen? Did you tell anybody? No, I didn't tell anybody, but I got to. It's a long, kind of funny thing that goes on between the two of them, and then his girlfriend shows up.
Mary Jane?
Kate.
Oh, Miles' girlfriend. Oh.
And Miles, at the end of the book, actually is about to spill the beans about his secret. And Gang's like, really? You're going to do it right now? And he's like, yeah, you need to know something. There's a reason why I'm always running and doing stuff. And I think you deserve to know the truth. To be continued. This is the only Ultimate comic book that I've been enjoying and that I could recommend. It's really good. The only thing is, it's weird how Peter Parker, clone, whatever he is, acted. Maybe it's not Peter Parker at all. I don't know, but very interesting stuff.
I'll try to get through this. All New X Factor issue number 9 is my book of the week. And I'm going to explain why it's my book of the week. Basically, it's all about focusing a little bit on Gambit. Well, Harrison is getting annoyed, you know, with Lorna saying, you know, you could have got us into trouble with all of what happened, and, you know, he said, like, basically from now on, whatever you do, you gotta ask me first. So I was like, wow. Cypher and Georgia really don't get along with each other, but Danger does, and Gambit along with the others. And I like the nut she gives, calling them a schmuck and everything because of how Georgia is treating them, you know. And here's the old X Factor classic cover art. And Gambit talks with Angela, who is Harrison's wife, and let's just say they get into some funny business. I am not gonna, yeah. Basically the cover says it all. So, meanwhile, Georgia is going to this lab where she finds out more about her powers and everything. And if you want to find out more, definitely read the book. Meanwhile, they take her back, Georgia, to her mother, her real mother, actually. And the mother's, like, you know, really happy to see her, and tells her about, you know, about the father and everything. And let's just say that the father is someone that goes by the name of Magneto Mora. So he's gonna be someone that they're gonna go after because he has Georgia kidnapped. So now it's up to the all-new X Factor to go there. And by the way, Polaris had asked permission to go to say, can we go see Georgia's mother and everything?
Anyway,
yeah.
Before we get into the last book of the week, which is the big one, give us just 2 seconds and we're going to, I don't want to take a chance, so give us just 2 seconds and we're going to continue. Alright, we're back. Last book, and this is my book of the week, and that is Original Sin, issue number 3. Holy crap.
Oh my god, the ending.
This was so good. And the ending's been spoiled already, so I don't feel like there's a humongous
But how do we know
here.
if it's really...
I have my predictions, which we will get into as soon as we go through the book.
Okay.
So...
I read it too, by the way.
The orb has the Eye of the Watcher, and we left off last time with the Eye of the Watcher exploding. And apparently what the eye does is when it explodes, it showed all the Avengers and all the people around the area one of their original sins, where Thor finds out about his sister, Hulk wants to kill Tony Stark, Luke Cage, it leads into what's going to go on in the Mighty Avengers, Spider-Man, what do you call it, he sees about there being somebody else, Matt Murdock talks about his mom, I think that's Matt Murdock talking about his mom, but anyway, everybody sees an original sin except Nick Fury, who's the only one that's capable at that moment to, put the orb under arrest. The other team with Black Panther and Emma Frost and Ant-Man and stuff, they're continuing to find those green bullets.
Where the Punisher and Doctor Strange found.
Yeah, Punisher and Doctor Strange actually have some interesting dialogue also.
Yeah, that I actually have to say.
Whereas Bucky, Moon Knight, and Gamora, Bucky actually figures out that they're on a dead planet, and back at Avengers Tower, what's his name? Nick Fury uses the Hulk and Wolverine to try to intimidate the orb, telling him stuff, and the orb's like, I'll tell Nick Fury everything he wants to know if he comes to me, not you. I'm not afraid of you. You don't intimidate me. This is where the unexpected starts to happen. So spoiler alert if you did not hear anything about this book or you haven't read it yet. Don't listen further. Fast forward to the end. Bucky, Gamora, and Moon Knight are on this dead planet. And they start making discoveries about certain things, and Bucky disappears. And Gamora and Moon Knight get trapped on this dead planet. Bucky then shows up, he teleports right near Nick Fury, and out of nowhere, pulls out a gun, bang! Shoots him.
I was like, hello?
He shot him several times, actually, and then he pulls out a machete. And right before he kills Nick Fury, Nick says, I never liked you. One thing that was said before Bucky showed up is Nick Fury's trying to figure out, he's like, everybody saw their original sin. I know I have. Everybody saw their deepest, darkest secrets. And I'm a man that has many secrets. So, why didn't I see anything? And then another question he brought up was, last I checked, the Watcher had 2 eyes. So where's the other eye? So now there's more questions. There's who killed the Watcher, who has the second eye, and why didn't this Nick Fury see his original sin? But I have a what do you call it? A prediction about that. But anyway, Bucky in the end decapitates Nick Fury, and basically he says, no more secrets. Now everybody's gonna jump and say, oh my God, Bucky's the bad guy. He's evil again. What's going on? No, Nick Fury didn't see any of his original sins, and I'm wondering if it's because Nick Fury's a clone.
A what?
Or something different. I'm telling you.
But this is a different Nick Fury. I mean, there's a whole big mix-up.
But Nick Fury didn't see any of his original sins. That can't be Nick Fury then. So whatever reason Bucky had for killing that Nick Fury, there has to be something connected somewhere.
So then...
And Bucky knows why, because he said no more secrets. So what's Bucky's big secret, and why did he have to kill Nick Fury? Was that Nick Fury, even? Because he saw no original sins. Who has the second Watcher eye? That I can't even predict. And who killed the Watcher still? I don't know, but... Guys, I don't think Nick Fury's dead, because why would Marvel bring Nick Fury back just to kill him in 3 issues?
Sometimes it happens.
No. We still have 2 more months. This is... And I don't want to jinx it because we're not even halfway through yet. The next issue will be halfway through, but this series, this event is definitely looking to be one of the best events that's come out of Marvel in a very long time. I love a murder mystery, and I love that every issue something else happens and more questions come up, and nothing's being answered yet. Nothing's being answered yet. But I have a feeling we're going to get our answers soon. In this book, it's a really spectacular event. There's going to be other things attached to it. There's advertisements all throughout the book. I'll be getting the Iron Man one, which is here, which is Original Sin 3.1 through 3.4, which is going to be all about Iron Man versus Hulk. Are there other advertisements?
Yeah, there's this one, Original Sins.
I'm not getting Original Sins. I don't trust miniseries connected to events. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, because remember what happened last time.
Yeah, there's no more advertisements. I thought they would have. I'm getting the Thor one, which the
one that we talked about already.
Mike talked about it. I will be getting that. Gee, really? There's no more? Okay.
Well, there is a special edition.
Yeah, by the way, guys, this weekend is the special edition New York Comic Con. Mike and I will both be attending.
Yep.
So for those of you that show up to the special edition New York Comic Con, we will be around.
Yeah, June 14th and 15th, Saturday and Sunday.
So hopefully we'll see you somewhere in the Javits Center if you're going. But we will definitely be there. We'll definitely be shooting and recording stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what's going to go on. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Looking forward to both days.
Indeed.
So there's a lot of stuff going on with Original Sin. I'm liking it. Can't wait to see what's going to go on in Spider-Man. I can't wait to see what's going to go on in Daredevil. I might be picking up Uncanny X-Men to see about the whole Last Will and Testament of Charles Xavier. Yeah. Original Sin has a lot of interesting stuff going on. Only thing I'm not getting from Original Sin is Original Sins. And that's because it's a miniseries attached to an event, and those never work when it comes to Marvel.
I don't know why they're doing that.
I don't know either, but I would highly recommend, if you haven't read Original Sin yet, get on this book immediately. Get issue 0 through 3.
Only if you like murder mysteries and all that.
It's really good. I'm loving it. The artwork also is spectacular. So
yeah, same here, because I read it too. Really good stuff.
Yeah. And with that, that's it for this comic review, guys. Don't forget to check out Comic Related, Comic Frontline, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Guys, unfortunately, It's a Podcast didn't come out last week due to the fact that I had no voice. You don't have a voice, you can't podcast. So, unfortunately, there was no podcast, but there will be a pre-one for the pre-special edition New York Comic Con. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a special episode for the special edition New York Comic Con, like a post one on Sunday night, to make up for the episode that I didn't do last week. Recaps will be going up all throughout the week. Remember, guys, tomorrow's the live show. I should have my Star Wars one up by tomorrow night after the live show. Zenescope should be following that, and Transformers should be following around the same time as the Zenescope recap. And then we should be up to date and continuing forward with the June books. Again, don't also forget that this week the Indie Review is joining the Dark Avenger Comic Book Review episode line. So there is no Indie Review 34. We are in episode 240 right now of the Dark Avenger Comic Review. So the next video that isn't a recap will be the Dark Avenger Comic Review for the Indies, episode number 340. So look forward to that. And until then, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review.
Or hopefully at the special edition New York Comic Con.
Indeed.
Yes. Later, everyone.